What's up guys, and as always, thanks for tuning in to Miller Bricks. Today, we're going to be looking at some of the older botanical sets. We're going to be looking at the tiny plant set and the succulent set. We're going to be deciding which one out of these two is the best and which one I think you should buy. We're also going to be deciding, just for fun, which one is the best plant in each set. So, let's hop right in. Let's start with the succulents and let's look at the set as a whole before we move into the individual plants. So, the succulents look pretty great, except for when you have them displayed like I do. So, the plants have these little, that's how you see it on camera. These little holes to put axles in, and it comes with a ton of these red axles. So you can, if you want to, click the plants together. But I don't have room on my shelf to do this, so I have to kind of spread them out. And without the axles in, it looks really unaesthetically pleasing, which is kind of a disappointment. But with that aside, let's move on to the individuals in the wave. So the first plant that we have, I'm going from smallest to largest, is this tiny, unimpressive succulent. This is by far the worst succulent we got in this because it just falls out. There's literally nothing connecting it to the bottom, which is very frustrating, and I wish LEGO wouldn't have done this. And the plant is horrible too. I guess the only impressive thing about it is the hats that it's using, but everything else is just really bad. These are the hats, by the way. They're little forestman hats from the LEGO Castle line. But I still really don't like it, and I wish LEGO would have put a little bit more effort into this one. And it just bothers me when I'm moving it onto my shelf and this falls out. And the pot, as all the other sets in the wave, aren't very impressive. The next small set in the wave is this one, and I actually really like this one. It's nice and anchored in, unlike the last set I showed you, and it really does look like a cactus for such minimal amounts of parts. They're using these fang/claw pieces again, which I really like, and when I saw this on the box, I did not understand how they did this, but now I do, and I think it looks great the way they did this, and it looks a lot like a cactus, and when you unfold it, you can see just how simple it is. And when you fold them all right back in, it looks like a cactus again. Flowers also really nice, and as always, pots are the same. The next set we have is this little orange flower. I really like it. It doesn't really have any nice parts usage. It's mainly just regular pieces, but I don't know why. I really like it. Even though it's really basic, it really does look a nice flower. And I love displaying this one on my shelf. And as always, pots are the same. I really like this next one. So I'm forgetting what type of plant this is, but it uses these egg pieces brilliantly. They just attach like 50 or 60 of these to the plant to make it look like a cactus. I really like it. It's really silly looking, but it's also very organic because of how asymmetric and random it seems. I really like this plant out of the set, and yeah, just positive feedback about this plant. This next one is fairly interesting. It just uses a lot of hinges to make a succulent type of plant, and when you fold it out, you can literally see it is just hinges around a small tower. And it's an okay set. I do like it, but the hinges are tedious, and if you just get it barely off, like I have it right now, it doesn't look that great. But it does have the use of an ice cream piece and then just a few tooth plates. But other than that, it's not very impressive. It's very hard to put back together. I just broke it on camera, which is funny. And it's also angled, so I feel like it is a little bit complicated, but I guess it looks good finished product if you do all the work. This next one is probably one of my least favorites just because of how basic it is. It's not really using any nice parts usage. It's just a ton of these semicircles, I guess. They kind of look like really giant glue-on nails. And I wish they could have done something a little bit more different. Maybe use like a special piece. It's just not that impressive. And I guess it looks good, but I just wish they could have used a more unique piece. This one I really don't like because it's not using any unique pieces at all. It's literally just leaf pieces, and that's all I have to say. I wish they could have used other parts instead of just leaf pieces. I'm a big fan of this one. I really love the building techniques because all it is a ton of modifieds with slope bricks on them with different things. And I think it's very smart how they did this. The top is very similar, it's just using even more modifieds, and I really like it. If you look at the cactuses in places like Arizona and Nevada, they look very similar to this when they're blooming, and I really like it. I'd say this is one of the sets that I would recommend in the wave. This last set has picked up quite a lot of dust on my shelf, so apologies for that. But I really do like this one. It's a nice flower, except once again, it is pretty delicate. And I don't understand a lot of it. Some of the hinges are just really weirdly done, but I still really like it. I think it looks great as a final. It doesn't really get off balance because of the Technic support here, which I really like. And I just think it's a beautiful flower. I really like these ones. Actually, I love them. And I like them so much more than the succulents. And to look at the set as a whole, we can look at the pots because we can't connect them. We just have to display them. And the tiny ones are a barrel and a cylinder. And it's so basic, it works on the tiny ones. And you'll notice a common theme here. As the pots get bigger, they get a little more complicated. So this one is just using very basic modified techniques to just put a little rounded plate on it. But the big ones are surprisingly complicated for a pot. All of the pieces are angled and then a cylinder on the top. And it's really cool how it works. I'm not gonna spoil how they did it because I really want you guys to learn how they did it. And it looks really cool. So let's move on to some of the individual sets of the wave. This time, let's start with the biggest set in the wave. Sorry, not set in the wave. I keep saying that. They're just plants in one set. So this one's just a basic cactus, which I think is funny because we got 2 cactuses in this set, and in the set titled Succulents, we only got like 3 or 4 cactuses, which I think is very humorous. But on the set, I really like it. They use funny techniques. They've got spikes going everywhere like a real cactus does, and the flowers are really beautiful. I really like this set. Sorry, plant. The next biggest one is this little flower one, and I really like it. It's basic. It's using these clamshells and horns to make the flower, which I think is really funny. And as I attach this one back on, you'll notice that there is 3 flower pieces stacked on top of each other to make it look like pollen. And there's also this little ladybug right here protecting the flowers from anything that wants to chop down the plant, I guess. It's really funny to have a piece like that in a Botanicals set actually serving its purpose. And the NPU isn't great, but it makes up for it in looks. The next biggest set is this one, and it's probably my favorite just because of the NPU. So, I forget what it's called. It's a carnivorous plant, and it's using a upside down piece of a broom, and then it's connected to a red battle droid arm, and then it's pouring into an upside down miner's helmet. And I think it is hilarious how they did this, and it is just so funny because it still looks good even with such amazing NPU. So this is the cactus I showed earlier, and yeah, it's literally just a cactus. I don't really like this one just because it's a cactus. Like, we had a whole set of cactuses, and this one's just a printed tile and a back that looks gross. But I mean, that's a pretty good I really like this one as well because it just has these hats as leaves, and it looks really, really funny. And I'm impressed with LEGO on this one. Also, this is borderline illegal building technique, so I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, if these things had studs on them, this would have been an illegal building technique. But hey, I mean, that's okay. Next up, we have this flower that uses another carnivorous plant, by the way, that uses these combs as petals and then these pink armor chest plates for a captain in pink as petals. Just really funny. And I forget what the plant's called, but if you look at it side by side on the instructions, it looks so similar, which I think is really funny, because right now it just looks like combs and armor pieces. Next up, we have our last carnivorous plant, and it is a Venus flytrap, and I really like it. It uses these cake pieces with an upside down tile to create the Venus flytrap, and then just these fern pieces. I really like this one. I think this is one of the better, smaller ones in the set. Second to last, we have this flower, which it's just a flower. That's it. Lastly, we have one of my favorite sets. One of my favorite plants in the set. And it's just this little purple bush. But the leaves are butterflies. That's right, little purple butterflies as leaves, which I find incredibly funny. And they're just using one of these fern pieces to make the illusion. And I really, really like it. This plant is hilarious. I hope you guys now see that the tiny plant set is definitely the better set. I hope you found this review useful and interesting, and as always, thanks for watching.